Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And that's why we're honored to have with us John Wark, founder and CEO of Nashville Software School. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. Doing well, and appreciate the chance to be here and chat with you.
Well, when we talk about careers in technology, training, equipping, there's a lot to unpack. Let's go ahead and start. Give us some background, some history for launching Nashville Software School.
Yeah, we launched Nashville Software School in 2012, really trying to address sort of two things for organizations in Nashville. You know, we've been hearing for years the big complaint: there's never enough tech talent. There's never enough tech talent. I've been in the tech industry since dinosaurs still roamed the earth, a long time, and was kind of getting tired of hearing that, because it's like, look, we know how to grow talent. If we don't have enough, we know how to grow it, right? But it's like somebody needs to stand up and do it. And on the other hand, I felt there was plenty of latent tech talent in Nashville. There were plenty of people that had the aptitude to be a software developer or a data analyst or whatever, and that had motivation, that wanted a better career, right? I mean, including all of our musicians who'd spent their 8 to 10 years breaking their pick trying to get into the industry. And it's like, hey, I want to be able to afford a house someday or whatever, right? I mean, we have plenty of talent. So it was like the intersection of opportunity and some time for me. I'd kind of semi-retired, but I'd done 4 tech startups before. So there's a problem, nobody's doing anything about it. My entrepreneurial spidey sense started to tingle. So we reached out to, eight or 10 tech companies here in town, said, hey, here's a thought about one way we could pump more junior talent into the local job market. Would you guys be interested in, one, reviewing some curriculum, telling us what you think skills people need? And that, we've continued to do that ever since. We work with the employers to find out what skills and competencies they want in the people they graduate, right? Not some sort of pro forma degree program that isn't really aligned with the job market. So we, and then most of those employers said, yeah, we'd at least interview if you can, train some people according to this. So we did a pilot, started June of 2012. We graduated them late 2012, and 12 out of the 14 graduates had job offers by mid to late January. So, it's like, it worked. Dogs ate the dog food. Well, what do I do? All right, let's do it again. So, and we've kind of ramped up from there. Our first program is our full stack web developer program or software development program, which is still one of our 3 foundational programs, getting software developers into the marketplace. It's originally full-time only, 6 months. Then we started, I think, 2015, a part-time evening version for people that couldn't give up their day job. That lasts 12 months. And then in 2017, we launched our data science program. In 2018, we launched our data analytics program. And, and those are our 3 core programs. Today, we've had a couple of other things we've done. We had an IT infrastructure program we did for a while under grant funding from the state. And we had another program that we launched in collaboration with Amazon. But when the tech market kind of started, the hiring in the tech market started to really dry up late 2022, early 2023, Amazon stopped hiring any junior talent. We decided to put that program on the back burner because we've cut back a little bit on the number of our students because we're trying to not oversaturate the market, but we're still graduating people. People are still getting placed. So we've now had almost 3,000 graduates from our programs. I think it's around 2,900. So certainly, I think the classes that'll finish up their work in December, graduate January, put us, I think, comfortably over 3,000. We've historically run very high placement rates, which is really our metric for success. Up until the job market slowed down here 18 months ago or so, we had pretty much always run placement rates in the 86, 88% of graduates, up to 92 or 3% of graduates who got jobs after a reasonable job search period. So we're very proud of that. It means that most of the people that entrusted us with their potential career future did have success. They graduated. We graduate 90% plus or minus a few of everybody who starts, and we were placing 90% plus or minus a few of everybody who graduated. So all good. And about half of our students. Part of our nonprofit mission is to lower the financial barriers, and we are a nonprofit. That's why we're here talking to you, I guess. Sorry, it's early. The obvious sort of escapes me sometimes. But we've had as part of our mission or our business model since we started that about half of our students would get what we call opportunity tuition, which at the time we launched it was pretty unusual. It's basically small tuition deposit, then a scholarship, which historically we've funded 90% of those scholarships. We do these days get some grants that help us fund scholarships. And then the rest of the tuition, the bulk of the tuition, is deferred until the student graduates. If that student doesn't graduate, they don't owe us a penny of that. We make our bet when we admit them, not later. It's not about butts and seats. But they still don't owe us after they graduate. They don't owe us until they've had a successful job search and gotten that first job. Now, there's some fine print and all of that stuff, but and that's been over the years, 45 to 50% of our students have gotten opportunity tuition, the bulk of which we finance out of cash flow, which is also our way of putting our money where our mouth is, right? We don't win if our students don't win. And an even higher percentage of our students get some form of scholarship support, even if we run out of opportunity tuition seats. I think this year it was like 70%. I think I haven't quite seen the final stats because we just started our last class of the year last week, but I think it's around 70% of our students get some level of financial support from either a partial scholarship or the full deferred tuition, whatever. So we're trying to remove financial blockers. We're also trying to provide a, kind of a second chance career training ground for people who maybe missed these tech career paths as they came out of high school, as they went to college, or did other things. And that includes a focus on people from groups that are underrepresented in tech. So I think last year, that's this year. Well, both years about the same. 57, 56, one year was one year was the other percent of our students this year were from groups underrepresented in tech careers. So women, Black people, Latino, Hispanic, veterans who are very underrepresented in tech. So that's also been, and we can use things like opportunity tuition to create some incentive to again, lower the scary barrier, lower the risk barrier to giving this a try.
Yeah, and I think it's a very cool model. And just like you're talking about, to give people opportunity, training, the jobs, like all of it to me is a huge win for the community. Carry that into, you mentioned, the evolution of technology and opportunities and constantly kind of keeping your pulse on that, working with the companies to figure out what the needs are. When you look at AI and some of those, what has your attention, though, in terms of positive opportunities for where the technology space, but really more importantly, your work within that to equip and train, where that falls looking forward? So in other words, what has your attention as a positive opportunity looking forward?
Yeah, if we look forward sort of mid to long term, and in some cases even fairly short term, one thing that all the generative AI stuff, ChatGPT, Claude, all those things, have done is create short-term uncertainty, because those things can generate code. So it's like, oh, are they going to put all the programmers out of work? Just like everybody was saying, almost 2 years ago now, right? It's going to put every writer out of work. It's going to put every, and it's like, well, okay, it's had an effect, but, it's had a productivity effect too, and that doesn't mean it's putting us out of work. So, I think part of the confusion over the impact of generative AI on software development is people misunderstand what it is that software developers do all day, every day. The biggest part of the job is usually not the actual act of writing code. It's the acts associated with understanding what the problem is. Generative AI doesn't know what problem you're trying to solve, right? So what is the problem? What are the ways in which I can fix it? What are the tools I have available to do it? Am I building something from scratch? Am I adapting, am I working on existing code? It's only when we get to okay, now I can create some code to solve this problem. What we're seeing is, and we've been surveying our grads every year, the last couple of years, every spring, because look, I've got several hundred grads working as software engineers. What better way to keep a pulse on what they're doing, right? It's clear that these tools are have the potential to have a positive productivity impact on the work of software developers, which means we can solve more problems, and we can, in some respects, focus on some of the more fun parts of the job, because the actual grunt work of just writing code, isn't the biggest, for most of us, isn't the biggest part of the fun, right? So there now are starting to be research studies, several been published just in the last few months, on productivity impacts and who gets the productivity impacts. And this is still new technology. We don't know for sure what this is going to look like. We definitely are seeing in most of the studies a positive productivity impact, and in fact, a greater positive productivity impact for junior talent than for senior talent. And that's probably because, junior talent tends to get assigned more of the coding type jobs compared to seniors. So kind of makes sense. We are seeing lots of questions, though, about impact on quality. And one of the things we have definitely learned is you can't let these tools run on their own. There has to be an experienced developer instructing it, basically specifying the requirements, which has been one of the fundamental jobs of software developers forever, right? It's just that now we're writing the requirements, or we're speaking the requirements to our AI partner, right? So we now all have a very smart, very fast, but slightly unreliable intern who can do a lot of our grunt work. And so, but as an industry, we're still digesting that. And so, I think the fog is starting to clear a little bit. But here in town, there are still lots of major employers, including a couple who are the largest employers of NSS grads, who are in industries where they will not allow their developers yet to use these tools because of all the concerns about, quote unquote, hallucinations, which aren't really hallucinations, but that's okay. Or information security, or leaking private information out into a public tool like ChatGPT. So, lots of legitimate concerns yet as an industry we're still surviving. But I think in the long run, it's a net positive, because there's still way more problems to solve than we have people to solve. And if this lets us get at more of them, or go back and re-engineer some of the old ones we've been forced to carry forward for 30 years, to modernize them, net, I think it's going to be a positive. Now, there's still, I think, lots of confusion and doubt about that. And what we've had is this sort of perfect storm of, we got generative AI, and AI more broadly. Well, like, we've been teaching machine learning since 2017 at NSS, right? This makes machine learning and deep learning and all those things more important, because that's how we feed and train the generative AI models. So, we're looking at things like, do we split that out into standalone classes out of our data science class? So, there's a lot there where we need to be agile, both NSS as a partner to the community, and employers, and professionals managing their own careers. How do I upskill myself, right, to all this change? So there's a lot of cool questions and cool potential here, but it is having a big impact. But we've also got, we had the sort of conjunction of late 2022. The big tech guys all realized they had overhired massively during COVID, so they cut staff. And by the way, a lot of the dollars they freed up went to pay for hardware to feed the training of generative AI models, because it's very expensive to do that. This is going to pass. And with all the layoffs, there are lots of intermediates and seniors who still wanted to work and would work for lower salaries. So why hire a junior if I can get an intermediate for this? So, there were lots of variables going on, and the uncertainty, and so for some tech career paths, the number of openings over the last year or so have been, it's been lower. It's, they haven't disappeared, but they're lower. And for others we graduate people into, it's about the same as it was last year, and it's a little bit down from 2 years ago. So we see a lot of opportunities to upgrade the training resources that are available here in the community, still keeping a focus on people who want to come into these careers from outside, but also starting to look more at the upskilling opportunities. And we've got almost 500 employers here in Middle Tennessee who've hired from us, so we have lots of employers we can work with to identify those upskilling opportunities for people who've already, gotten their basic training and are looking to move forward on one of these either brand new career paths, and we're looking at a couple, next year we're hoping to launch at least one complete new boot camp program for a career path that 5 years ago nobody talked to us about. And today, a bunch of employers in town are saying, when are you going to start a program? So we'll probably announce that in January. So, so maybe by the time this hits the radio, that may be public. We've just been awarded a couple big grants, one from the state, one from a private foundation, to create some of these upskilling programs, which we think for at least the first 18 months or so. So for most of next year and at least the first half of 2026, we think we'll be able to offer those for free to people who've not yet been able to find their first job or have been laid off and could use some upskilling. So some cool things, I think, on the horizon for us. But also, I think, again, at least in the midterm, still lots of big opportunities to get into this and go do some problem solving. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what software developers and data analysts and data scientists are. They're problem solvers, right? And I've been doing this for 50, all right, we won't go there, for a long time. We've constantly been raising the bar on how productive we could be because our tools get better and better and higher level. Well, this is, I think, just the next step in that. And it's a good sized step. But again, we don't know the full shape of what this will look like. But as fast as it's moving, we'll have a much better handle in another couple of years.
Talk about ways the community can help NSS, because obviously being a nonprofit, the underwriting financially of the efforts, the scholarship opportunities, that piece of it, extremely important. Also to obviously employers. So talk about the different ways that the community can help NSS.
Well, several ways. I mean, one way is we're just getting ready to kick off our year-end giving. So for at least those who hear this shared over the internet before this January, but even after that, right? As a nonprofit, we do solicit and encourage donations from individuals and organizations to either feed our scholarship fund or some of our other costs of, like our year-end campaign this year. We're hoping to put the money against the subscription cost for some of the software tools that we have to re-up for every year, so that we keep them free to our students, right? We're trying to keep the cost down for our students, that or towards our scholarship funds. That's always available. And, there's donate page, out on our website, NashvilleSoftwareSchool.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter out there so you can stay up with, hey, what's going on? What new programs? Because again, I think we're going to have some pretty exciting stuff to to announce in the next few months. So that's that's absolutely one way that everybody in the community can help. Another thing, as I said, we're looking to create some of these upskilling programs, create a new boot camp career path program. We're also looking to, we're already doing generative AI training as part of our boot camps, but we're also working with employers on, let's review the competencies and skills that we're giving to juniors in our boot camps, and are your requirements shifting in some ways, right? We know there's areas where they're definitely not shifting. People still need to know how to do this stuff, on their own without the assistance of tools. But are the tools changing, or are there new competencies and skills? And we think there are, that need to be integrated into our programs. How to modernize, if you will, our programs. And so, working tech professionals who might want to get involved with helping review curriculum, or at least sharing ideas with how they see it changing. Organizations where their tech leadership might want to plug one of their senior people in to give us some advice or review some of our stuff, or if they want to talk about what some of their upskilling needs are, so that we can integrate that into how we prioritize which of these things we launch first. Reach out to us. Again, you can do that if you don't know any of us at NSS, if you've not worked with us, NashvilleSoftwareSchool.com, and there's a contact form. You can always send something to info, email address, info at NashvilleSoftwareSchool.com. So, reach out to us. And if you just have questions, right, reach out. We very much see ourselves as a community asset, right? And so we love to engage with people in the community that are interested in exploring how they might help us, or understanding how we might help their aspect of the community. So let's have a conversation and we can figure it out.
Well, make sure everyone check out the website, NashvilleSoftwareSchool.com. John Wark, founder and CEO, Nashville Software School. Thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the chance to share the news about NSS with the community. So thank you.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.